Okay, so the next one is talking about how we are going to read the end of the line using what we have right now. So remember that at the end of the line, there is a \n, basically it's a new line character, which is escape character, meaning that we cannot see. But if I'm using the .get, I can actually read that character. So your book likes to do it this way. So we have a character, it's going to have a do while, and it's going to read a character and do whatever it wants with that character. It's going to keep doing it till it gets to the \n, and it's going to stop. So let's say that I start reading a character from here. I'm going to keep reading it, including the space, all the way down here to \n, and it's going to stop. That's the way we're going to read one line. We're going to be looking for \n. And my version of the same thing is, as I said before, I don't like to use do while, so I use while loop all the time. For the while loop to work, I have to have a get before the while loop and a get at the end of the while. So I'm going to read one character. If it's not \n, I do my processing, and then I read one at the end. So if I read one character and it's \n, I do not do any of these things. So that would be an empty line. Or when I'm processing, I don't have to worry about it. I do that at the end. So keep that in mind, because we're going to use this in some of the assignment that we have for this week. So we talked about a string versus a character. Same thing goes with \n. If I have a \n as a character, it's going to be 1 byte. That's \n, which is number 12 in the ASCII table. But if I do \n as a string, it's going to have a \0 at the end of it. So a string \n is 2 byte. Character \n is 1 byte. So that's the difference. Just a quick note, side note, that the end of the string is denoted by \0. That's a 0 in your ASCII table. The the end of line is \n. End of character for the file is not defined in our basic ASCII table, but we are going to be working on it as an EOF character. Excuse me. So if I print them out, they're going to just print the same thing, basically go to the next line. Wouldn't make any difference between these two, but in reality, they are different. So again, if I have \n, it's going to be 1 byte. If I have string as a \n, it's going to have + no. So I put a little number here to remind you how do we calculate the binary to the number. So the first one is 1, then 2, that's 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2, and so on. So it's going to be 0. So it's going to be 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So we're going to take the 8 and a 2, and then we add them up together. That's going to give me number 10. So that's going to be the difference between the Mac users and PC users, that sometimes they are different setting in the environment, that which one is going to be the new line. Is it going to be 10 or is it going to be 12? But in either case, your \, so the difference between carriage return and a new line. So if it's going to be defined as a string, it's going to be 2 bytes. So it's going to have its number for \n, plus zeros for null character. That would be the end of my string. So if we're reading one character, we want to write one character, we can use the put. A lot of cases you can use the cout, but we're using get and put. So the put is going to just put one character to the string that we have. If it's going to be cout, it's going to be cout.put. If it's going to be out to string or whatever string that we have, that's .put. So I can do cout.put, or I can do autostream.put to put a character into it. So the first one is going to put one character to the screen. The second one is going to put one character into the file. Now, this putback is a little confusing, so I need your attention to figure this out to get. So when we're reading one character, or we're reading anything, everything is going to come to a buffer. So everything is going to be inside the buffer. Now, when we read stuff, my pointer to that section is going to move forward. So if I read one character, it's going to read that one, consume it, and it's going to go to the next one. So my next read is going to read the next character. Now, we can put it back. So basically, we're going to move our pointer back. Well, depending for this one, it's going to be just one. So we can put it back. And sometimes we need that, especially if we want to read numbers. So we get to that later, but we can use this putback, and it's very, very important. And I'm going to ask you guys to use this for your problem number 4, because we're going to do it for reading numbers. So if I read 1, so if I'm reading character, I'm going to read the 1. So when I read the 1, I am going to move on to the next one. So my next read is going to read me a 0. Now, if I put it back, so let's say that I read 1, I have 1 right now, and I'm going to be moved to the 0 for the next read. But if I put it back, it's going to go back again. Now my next read can read the whole thing as a number. We practice on that a little later. So if I read one character at a time, I'm going to end up with \n, and that's the last thing I'm going to read from the input. Or if I have a number, and again, if I'm reading it as a character, I'm going to be reading one at a time as a character. I can read it as a number, or I can read it as a character. So when I read it as a character, I'm going to consume 1, and then I'm going to be looking at 0. So my next read is going to be 0. If I wanted number 10, if I wanted 10 as a number, this is going to be a little bit of work to figure out how to do it. And we can put it back. Remember, I have 1 in my position right now. I can put it back and then read the whole thing as a number. All right. So this is one way of one of the assignment is talking about reading spaces. So you're going to be calculating how many spaces you have. So if you have more than 1, you're going to ignore it. So in here, we're going to read the get. This is the style that I like. You're going to read one character. You go to the while loop. It's looking for space. And if it's not a space, it's going to put it back. Remember, I read a character. I have that character. If it's not the space, I'm going to put it back. and then I'm going to read it again. So I am basically removing my spaces. Okay, so let's take a few minutes, go over some of these questions. Again, you're reflecting on what I'm talking about. Hopefully you learned some of these things. My suggestion is to pause the video here, go over these things, write it down. Don't think about it, because sometimes when you're writing it down, you can reflect on it, or you can get together with one of your classmates and talk about these things. We may go over them during the class time too.